Hello and welcome to a series of videos previewing the British and Irish Lions tour games against Super Rugby franchises down in Australia. My name is Hugh, and in these videos we will be deep diving every opposition the Lions are set to face. We'll be getting to know their history, naming their key players, identifying their strengths, and most importantly, pinpointing their weaknesses. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've seen a lot of growth lately and I'd love for you to be along for the ride. Before we jump into this first video, I'd just like to say a massive thank you for the support shown for the Argentina video we did a couple of weeks ago. That's had a massive reaction and I'm so glad that not only people have been able to enjoy it from a Lions fan's point of view, but also lots of Argentina fans appreciated it as well. So that makes me very happy, and thank you to all of the new subscribers that we've had since that video went live. Okay then, on with the video, and the first opposition that the Lions are going to be facing on their tour of Australia is the Western Force. Based in Perth in Western Australia, the Force were founded in 2005, making them the youngest of the Australian Super Rugby teams. They have never won Super Rugby. Their best ever finish in the league was 7th, and in fact they were actually axed from the league in 2017, only to be brought back in 2020 during COVID when the league went through one of its many restructurings. Currently coached by Simon Cron, they finished 9th in this season's Super Rugby out of 11 teams with just 4 wins and 51 tries scored, making them the bottom Australian franchise. So let's take a look at who their top players are. Their top ball carrier is Mac Greeley. From 144 carries this season, he got 71% gain line success. He also beat 41 defenders and made 878 metres. These are very impressive stats indeed. Their biggest ball in hand threat is winger Harry Potter, and yes, he is a wizard. He had 45% tackle evasion with 20 clean breaks from just 14 games, 47 defenders beaten, 780 metres made and 15 offloads. Their top try scorer is flanker Carlo Dezzano. He got 13 tries this season, making him the outright top scorer in Super Rugby full stop. Their top defender is also Carlo Tizzano. Out of 200 tackles made, he had a 95% success rate, including 4 dominant hits and 6 turnovers won. Again, very strong stats. So let's get into talking about what their strengths are as a team. And for the Western Force, most of their strengths revolve around their line-out and maul. The Western Force are top for tries scored per game for any club side in the world. That's Super Rugby, Top 14, Premiership or United Rugby Championship. In fact, the majority of Carlo Tizzano's tries came from the back of rolling mauls. They are second overall for line-out success in Super Rugby. They are top for stealing lineouts in Super Rugby, and they are top for scoring tries off first phase in Super Rugby, which is massively boosted by them scoring off mauls. That's a first phase try, a maul try. Not only do they have the second best lineout success, but their player Darcy Swain was top of Super Rugby for lineout takes with 79 in 14 games. My goodness, that's a reliable lineout jumper. Other than that, there aren't really many strengths for the Western Force that I was able to find. They are top for first half tries scored in the world, but I don't think that's a particularly exciting one. Meanwhile, if we talk about their weaknesses, they had the fewest carries of any team in Super Rugby. They had the worst scrum success in Super Rugby and the worst scrums won via penalty in Super Rugby. Now that's slightly unusual. You tend to think of teams that have got a good line out would also have a good scrum. You know, you've got set piece teams. But in the case of the Western Force, they have an excellent line out and maul, but a very poor scrum, and that's unusual. Elsewhere, they had the most yellow cards in Super Rugby, and they are the worst at committing 2+ tacklers with their carries. So I'll be honest, it was very difficult to find many strengths for the Western Force, and as I alluded to earlier, they are the weakest of the Australian franchise teams in the league. I mean, they'd been kicked out of the competition once before, for goodness sake. Their average scoreline this season was 26 points to 34 defeat, and they conceded the second most points per game of any team in the league. They have played the British and Irish Lions before in 2013. They lost 69-17 in Perth. The Lions try scorers on that day were Johnny Sexton, Brian O'Driscoll got 2, Tom Croft, Jamie Heaslip of podcast fame, Mako Vunipola, Tommy Bowe, Owen Farrell, and Jeff Parling. The game was also notable for Lee Halfpenny kicking 11 out of 11 kicks successfully, which I still believe is a record for any Lions player. So for me, the Lions should be targeting a 100% win rate on this tour, and I think the Western Force is a very comfortable start for them. There's also the slight added benefit of playing in Perth. The time difference, jet lag, isn't going to be as great. Perth is only 8 hours ahead compared to the eastern coast, where most of the rest of the games are going to be, is 10 hours ahead. The game kicks off at 11 o'clock UK time, so hopefully that's not going to have too much of an impact on them. They'll be able to cope with it one way or another. Of course, the flight to Australia is very long anyway, so hopefully they're landing a few days in advance and get some of that airplane travel out of their legs. In terms of team selection for this game, it's an interesting one. It's a challenge for Farrell because this could be the first opportunity he uses to get a look at his Leinster players, obviously players that he knows very well. The big contingent that was playing in the URC final is now available for this game, plus the likes of Finn Russell from elsewhere. But as I said, this should be an extremely routine victory for the Lions. So does he want to be using what will be probably, we think, the majority of his test team, players like Dan Sheehan and Jameson Gibson-Park, against this level of opposition, or does he want to save them for harder games like the Queensland Reds, the game after this? But if he does that, it means that he's not seeing many of his top players until the third game on tour, which is a risk. So if you go strong in this game, you probably walk over the Western Force. So if it was me choosing, I would go for maybe some of my more experimental combinations, maybe some things that you maybe expect to try off the bench or emergency cover roles, maybe mix it up a little bit, because I do expect this to be a very routine victory for the Lions. But that is just one man's opinion. Let me know what you expect from this game in the replies down below, and I will see you for the next preview. Cheers.